This past year, Apple doubled their share of the smart home market from just under 6% to just over 10%. It's nowhere near what Amazon and Google have, but more and more people are buying these HomePod minis. Apple sold 4 million of these last year. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get started with Apple's HomeKit. We'll talk about what you need for the setup, and we'll look at bringing some devices into HomeKit. Now, any of the devices I talk about, I'll put links down in the description, along with a couple of other smart home videos. So check those out. First, let's talk about what you need. In order to set this up or set up Apple's HomeKit, you're going to need an iPhone, or if you're an Android user, you still can set up Apple's HomeKit. You just need to have an iPad, and you can run HomeKit from this iPad. You are going to need a HomeKit hub. That can be either an Apple TV, a HomePod, or you can use an iPad to be your HomeKit hub. Now for our hub in the new house we're setting up, we're using this HomePod mini. Most of you, if you're an iPhone user, are going to use this for the setup, but I'm going to use this iPad. That way, one, you could just see a larger screen, and two, see the setup on an iPad. Just know everything I do during setup on this iPad, you would do the same thing on an iPhone. Now I'm powering up the HomePod mini. It's doing this rotation thing on startup. Now that it's doing the little pulsing thing, we would either bring our iPhone nearby, or in our case, we're going to be using this iPad. So we'll bring it next to it, and as you see, it said the setup came right up. We'll hit setup. From here, I have two different homes. And the reason I do is because I didn't want to blow up my previous smart home, but I'm thinking about it, just starting over from scratch. So let me know if you'd like to see some videos putting it all back together. But for now, here is our test home, which is blank. And now we're gonna pick a room for it to go into. Let's just call it the bedroom. And here it says HomePod can recognize your voice. And this will give you your music. It'll answer questions. It'll access your different apps. Really, I recommend turning that on so that it knows you and other people in the house. So we'll hit recognize my voice. And now here's the personal request. And this allows you to do things like add stuff to your calendar, have Siri read your message, reminders, and even calls. So you're gonna wanna turn that on, but you have to actually go into the settings per HomePod to set up personal requests. It's not a global thing. That way you can have a HomePod in someone else's room and it won't recognize your voice. Now we'll hit continue because it can recognize everybody. Hit continue again and agree. We'll hit transfer settings from your iCloud account, and next use the camera from your iCloud account to capture that. Now it's continuing the setup process, which is going to take a minute. That's all you got to do for your hub. You're ready to go. This would serve as our local hub. So if we're outside the house, we're trying to communicate with it, we talk to the hub does the processing and talk to the other devices. Now we would launch into the Home app, and this is what you're going to see. This is my test home, and the only thing in it is this HomePod that's configuring. And then over on the side, there's your home. You have automations, so you can see the automations you make. You could discover other uses, and then you have your rooms. Since we selected bedroom, it created a room for us. So now to add another room, we'd hit the plus sign and hit add room. We can call this living room. You can also change the photo in here by choosing one of the existing or picking from your photo library. That way you can identify rooms just by swiping through them. So now we'll save that. We got the living room. We'll add one more. See the color difference? We'll add an office. And let's pick a different color for that. Now on the iPhone, you're gonna see the same home right there. And you could go between your rooms by going under rooms and swiping between them, or you could hit the little home icon, do your room settings, and access your different rooms that way. But this home is your favorites. And by default, anything you add is gonna be a favorite accessory. This where your scenes would go. And then right up here, you'll see status of your devices. Now let's go back to the iPad. Let's go to home. Now, if you do a long press on a device, it is going to bring up these different settings in here. This is still configuring. This is where we can label it, call it whatever we want. And this is where we could turn off include in favorites. If we do that, it'll no longer appear there. It still does live under bedroom. Now you have the plus sign here, and this is your intercom button. So if you do have other people in the house, this can be sent to their devices or other HomePods in the house. And then you hit done, it announces to everybody. Intercom button. So if you do have other people in the house, this can be sent. Okay. So that is great because you can actually have that go to your kids' devices right into their headphones, so no excuses. Under the plus sign, you do have all of your options. One, add accessory. We're going to add those in a moment. Add a scene, show you how to do that. Automations we'll cover in another video. And we've already talked about the room. We could create a new home or add people. So you would invite people into your house so they have the same kind of control on their devices. Now I launch back into the Home app and you may see this. This is welcome to test. Continue finishing setting up your home. We'll hit continue. Now you have the intercom, explains that to you. I just use that. You can change the settings. So only when you're at home, when this iPad's at home, it'll go off, but outside the house, it won't get them. So you could choose those kind of settings, hit next. Yes, we could use location services, and we're done there. Now, I had mentioned earlier that you can go into the HomePod and personalize it. If you do a long press, scroll down, you can see alarms and timers. You hit the little wheel. This is where you name it. Let's put it back in our favorites. If you scroll down, you're going to find personal request, and you're going to want to turn those on so that it knows who's talking. So personal request on, receive notifications when Siri responds to any personal request. Okay, you could turn that off too if you want. So that's your settings for your HomePod. Now we're going to set up some devices. First thing you have to do is make sure any device you buy works with Apple's HomeKit. Unfortunately, there are not as many HomeKit devices out there because Apple's HomeKit requires a certification that a lot of manufacturers haven't done. But there are more and more affordable devices out there. These are the Nanoleaf Essential bulbs, some of the best white light, and the bulbs I'm switching over to in a lot of cases. Apple's HomeKit is known for its privacy and security and handling a bunch of tasks locally. Now, if you're getting started, you could get something like this Wi-Fi smart plug or Wi-Fi bulbs. They tend to be easier to set up. They don't need any hubs. But I found my Wi-Fi devices drop connection more than anything connected to a hub. Now, some devices do require a hub. Philips Hue uses a hub. My smart switches from Lutron use a hub. This Aqara camera serves as a hub so you can connect sensors to it. Or you have to buy their standalone hub. What I found is all my devices that talk to a hub tend to be more reliable. The downside is a hub is one more thing that you have to power. In some cases, you have to plug in a hub with Ethernet. So you may not want that and just stick with simplicity of Wi-Fi. Now, what we're going to use and set up here is the Nanoleaf Essential Thread bulbs. Thread is a newer mesh network between your devices that makes for a stronger network and a more secure network. Right now, only the HomePod minis and some of the other Apple devices support Thread. And there's not a lot of manufacturers that are making stuff for Thread. But Google and Amazon are supposed to use Thread soon, so hopefully you'll be able to use these bulbs. I'll put links down in the description along with their strips. I did make a video recently about putting those on a TV. Now, something else to think about is most of Apple's HomeKit devices need their manufacturer's app. And a lot of them you set up through the app and connect it up to HomeKit. But things like these Nanoleaf bulbs don't need to go through a manufacturer's app. So this bulb behind me is one of the Nanoleaf Essential bulbs. I put it into pairing mode and I'll show you how we're gonna add it into HomeKit. HomeKit devices have these little QR codes on them to scan. They also have an 8-digit code. So in some cases when you're not able to use your camera to scan, like for example, this smart plug can be a pain to get to with the camera, you can enter the code. The bulb behind us does have the code on the bulb itself and the little QR code to scan, but that's a little hard to do when it's inside that lamp. So you do often have these little pieces of paper in there. I do recommend that you make a spreadsheet with these 8-digit numbers on them. That way you don't have to worry about keeping these. Now we're going to add this bulb. We open up the Home app, we hit plus to add an accessory. Click add an accessory. And here it says to scan your setup code. Well, now that I have this facing down and I don't want to move it, I could hit more options. And it actually found the Nanoleaf Essentials. If for some reason it doesn't, you click on that and you can enter the code. So let's enter the code for this device just to show you how it works. And then continue. So now it did find it. It shows it right here. I can just select it. Now it's going to connect to that light. The beauty of the Thread stuff is that they do talk to each other and create a strong network. I've also found that the Nanoleaf Essential stuff, they come on together. They come on quick. Now it's going to ask where we want to put it. I'm just going to put it in the bedroom for simplicity. We'll hit continue. We could give it a new name. We'll call it the test lamp. And now there's enable adaptive lighting. What that'll do is it'll put the color of the bulb. Right now it is in just a warm white. It'll put the white color temperature at the right time for the day. So you're gonna see that when I enable it. We'll hit continue. Notice it changed to a cool white. That's because I'm filming this earlier in the day. So we'll hit done. And this explains the adaptive lighting. Lights will choose an appropriate color for the right time of day. Lights will always return to this color when the power is turned off and on. Anytime that you turn on your lights, it'll just come on at the right temperature. So at night, they'll just come on warmer. So there we go. We see our light in there. If we want to look at the settings, it does need an update. But if we want to look at these settings of it, we can hit the little gear. We can give it a name. We can include it in our favorites. We can put it in some automations. That light's ready to go. So next we're gonna add this camera. It has its code on the bottom. So let's scan that. And this time we'll use the phone. So we'll hit the plus sign. We'll add an accessory and then we'll scan it from the bottom. It found it and it knows it's a camera. So we'll add to home. Now it's just waiting.
Wi-Fi connected successfully.
Now this is a Wi-Fi device because it serves as a hub for other Aqara devices. Now we'll put this one in the bedroom, hit continue, give it a name, test camera. And it says choose when this camera streams. And this is one of the stuff I love about HomeKit supported cameras. I can choose that when I'm at home, the camera's either off, can only detect motion, can stream, or stream and record. So I leave mine set for stream. And if you hit continue, we'll just leave it how it is. Now you can have automation. So when motion's detected in the bedroom, it turns on the light. But we'll just leave that alone, leave it off. Now it's been added to our HomeKit. So this explains secure camera recording. We're gonna set that aside and we'll look at it on here. Secure camera recording. Your cameras can now capture and store recordings to your iCloud account. No third parties needed. You can access live and recorded footage from any of your devices using the new camera view. So we'll hit continue. And now under our bedroom, here is the camera. So under home, it automatically put it in there because it's a new device. And then here, record with more cameras. Your iCloud subscription was upgraded to allow recording with more cameras. And you have your recording options. So again, iCloud subscriptions are recently upgraded to allow recording on unlimited cameras. So now we'll set all that up later, but there's the different streaming modes. So when we're away, I can have this so it streams and allows recording. And then whoever the first or last person is to enter the house turns on those modes when they enter or leave. To get to the camera options, you would select the camera. Let's mute that. Here you'd see the little gear. You click on that and it's going to show you the different settings in here. You can set your activity zones and all that. And one of the things that's cool about when you have the cameras going, in the bottom right hand corner, there is a button that will show you the other devices in the room. So say you have an outdoor camera, you can have the porch light there. So if you want to turn on the porch light or turn off the light, you have quick access to it there. Now the smart devices we put in, we can control from our iPad, computer, our iPhone, and even on the Apple Watch. So to start off with some basic controls, if you have a lamp in here, if you tap it, it's going to go on and off. If you do a long press on it, that's going to get you to your color. Right now, that's adaptive lighting. If we pick a different color, you see it change to a warm white here. If we click edit, we can adjust that color temperature and then hit done when it's at something we like. Or we want to add some color, we can go through and you can see that the color is changing behind me as I roll through. That's the one thing Nanoleaf, the Nanoleaf Essential stuff, and especially on that gray wall, is not very bright in color. But that's how you select your different colors. Let's say we like that color, we've set the lights in the room, and we want to save it. What we would do, close out the light, go to plus, and then click scene. And you can either pick one of the suggested scenes or you can hit custom, and we'll call this relaxing test lights. Okay, and then we'll add accessories, and this is where you'll pick what goes in it. If you add a HomePod, you can have it start playing music, smart plugs turn on, all your different options will show up here. We want the test lamp only in this. We'll hit done, and now you pick what you want that light to do. Let's say I don't want it to come up to 100% in blue. Let's just say it comes up to 68. Now I hit done, and that is going to show up as our first scene. And there it is right there. It's still at full. It's at what I set it as. That's why it's grayed out. But if I click on it, it now changed it and brought it up to what I had saved in there. The one thing I don't like is, say I want to adjust this scene, I do a long press on it, I have to go into here, the color was wrong, change it, close it, and then since it's in this white, it's not activated, you'd run it again. Now we can use our voice to control it from the HomePod Mini, from our phones, Apple TV, across all our devices with Siri. So let's say I want to change this to white. I would say, hey Siri, bedroom test lamp to white. And it's at white. Now, one of the tips I have for new users is that lights that are in the same room with a HomePod get paired together so that you can say, hey Siri, lights off. And it knows just the lights that are in the room. So that makes it so much easier, not having to memorize names for everything. Definitely for the non-techs like my wife. Another tip, for the non-tech, let them name their bulbs or lamps or smart plugs. Like in my room, my wife's light is called My Light. So she always remembers to say, hey, turn on my light. And mine is Craig's light. So I just work within her setup just to keep it simple. Now, the next thing I want to cover, I'm not going too deep, but I'd like you guys to have a little bit of information on this to start playing around. I want to talk about automations. If you hit the plus sign and click add automation, you're going to see here are your different choices to trigger the automation, and then here's some suggested automations. So you have when people arrive or leave. You can have something happen at a time of day. When one accessory is controlled, it automatically controls another one. And then what we're going to look at here, one of the basic ones to get started with, it's a sensor detects something. So in our case, we're going to select that. Now, the only sensor to detect something, which if we had door sensors and other motion sensors, they would show up here. But the only one we currently have is the motion sensor off of this camera. So we can say motion off of that camera, hit next. We could choose when it detects motion or stops detecting motion. You can pick times it's limited to and when people are home or not. You can label it. We'll leave it alone. Hit next. And what we want it to do is we can have it relaxing test light. We'll have it turn on the HomePod, and that's going to set the level. Now we would pick what we want it to do. Here's our scene. We can choose to play or pause our HomePod, and we could select the media to play. So we can go through and we can pick what kind of audio we want to play. So if we wanted out of our catalog of music, we can do that. But there's the different settings you can choose for the automation. And we can label it if we want, but this shows that it's going to trigger a scene when that detects motion. I have a motion sensor, so I walk down the stairs in the morning, and only in the morning will it turn on all the lights. Any other time of day, it ignores it. Now you can test it using that, or you hit done. And now, hey Siri, bedroom test lamp to white.
Okay.
That's in white now. Now, if it detects motion on this, you see how it changed to blue. That's just a basic automation. One of the other ones you should look at is to use time of day. So I have sunset routines, I have sunrise routines. Those can become really helpful there. You are now on your way to an awesome smart home. It really is nice that the Home app contains everything so you can set your scenes, do all your automations in one place. It's nice that it's consistent across all the Apple devices. So now you're ready to dive in and get started on your Apple HomeKit smart home. But first, let me know, are you switching from another smart speaker or are you just getting started? Let us know in the comment section. Next, make sure to check out this video over here so you can see why I switched to Apple's HomeKit. I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching. Bye.